Welcome back to the Expressions of Destiny podcast. This is Jennifer. Today is Teachable Tuesday, so we are going to get down to business, but it is also the first Tuesday of 2023, and I am just so excited to share with you guys just my heart with an encouraging word for your businesses, for your ministries, for your families, your life, everything that has to do with anything within you. I want to encourage you today and just share with you some of the things you guys should know by now if you've been listening. I am a storyteller, so I want to share a story with you today about how we always like to reflect and press through with encouraging words. And so as we think about the changes and the transitions that seem to be happening, as we go from one year to the next, we are really entering into a new season. And so things may not change drastically, but you are still crossing over into a new season. And in that transition, there are things that, may change, things that may stay the same. There are things that may be modified. And so what I want to do today is just share with you one of the main things that I love to do personally that helps in that transition when it comes to actually being in a position of leadership. And being a leader does not have to mean that you are over a multitude of people. Being a leader is just being that. Someone who can lead in any situation, in any position, any place, any scenario in your life, whether it's in your family, it is in ministry, whether you are a business owner or you work for someone. You can be just an employee who has these aspirations of owning your own business one day. You're an entrepreneur, but you have these dreams, you have these visions, but you're still working under somebody else's watch. You can be a leader in that position as well. Even if you don't have the title of leadership, it's not about a title. It's about your actions. It's about the way that you operate every single day in the things that you do and the decisions that you make. And so one of the things that I really love to do is it doesn't matter where I'm at, what position I've held, what job I have been at in all of the years that I've been working. I always found that if I just made it a point to be the encourager, that would shift something so great in the atmosphere of no matter where I was at, there was a shift that took place. The atmosphere was almost instantly changed if I chose to be the encourager. And so anytime I saw that someone was maybe struggling, a coworker or someone that was working with me on a project, maybe their mind just wasn't there, or they weren't, fully engaged because something else had happened, or they were upset or angry at someone else. If I was able to just offer them an encouraging word and remind them of their purpose and remind them of who they are and how much I appreciate all that they are doing, it almost instantly shifted that. It changed and shifted everything inside of them, even if it was just for that moment or the time being that they were there. And so I've always found it very important to start every single morning with that mindset and with that heart. And so if you are a business owner or you're an entrepreneur or you are a leader in ministry or you're a leader in your household or you are just, and I don't like using the word just, but you are in a position where you are employed by somebody else, because sometimes we can feel like we're not really worthy of being in those titles until somebody gives it to us, but you are. You are. And so if you would just take a moment every single morning to recognize what is going on in the atmosphere that you step into on a daily basis and be the change. Make that change. If it means walking around the office or walking around, the store or wherever it is that you're at, the church, and speaking to each person individually and saying, good morning, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for what you do. If you can't do that, if you're able to get on a computer and type up a quick email and send it out to every single person that is on your email list that works for you or that you work with, and say, good morning, I just want to wish everybody a wonderful day. I am here to help you. If you need anything, please reach out. But you guys are doing an amazing job. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. A few words makes a world of a difference. And on a daily basis, it is a reminder of how much you truly care about those people. And you don't know what they are going through. But all of a sudden, because you took a moment to remind them of how important they are and how much you appreciate them, they are willing to do so much more, not for you. Yes, they're doing it for you in their position, right? And what you are paying them to do, but so much more for themselves. They gain a confidence. They gain this pride, this joy of knowing who they are, that they are somebody, and they are appreciated and loved. Now, many people will say, oh, I don't have time to do that. Guess what? Every morning I have a schedule. I have so much to do. But the first thing that I have to do before I do anything else is to read my verse of the day, even if it's just one verse, and share it with every single person that follows me on social media. Because even though that word was for me, it always ends up being for somebody else. Someone else needed to hear it, and if I didn't share it, they wouldn't have received what it was that their heart needed that day. And so I make it a priority before I do anything else to read my verse and to upload that verse for anyone who needs to see it and hear it. And it does. It reaches every single individual who needs to hear it, whether it's one person one day, 20 another, 100 another, back to 2 the next day. It does not matter. We do it for the one who really needs it. Even if everybody else portrays themselves of not needing it, you do it for the one, but you do it as a team and as a whole. So to go along with that point, the story I want to share with you today is there was a time about 3 years ago. Almost 6 years ago. We used to live in West Palm Beach, and we moved to another city. My husband was still working at the job that he had had for 6 years already. And this city that we moved to was about an hour away. And so for the next 2 years, he commuted from our new city to West Palm Beach every day down there, every day back, 5 days a week. So this extended his day by 2 hours. And if I could tell you the exhaustion and the frustration, and although he loved what he did as far as helping people, he was beginning to get overwhelmed and just exhausted by the travel, even feeling, insignificant, or maybe he wasn't doing enough. And so that can weigh really heavy on you. And so what my daughters and I decided to do was we ran out to the dollar store, and we bought stacks of little cards that said, thank you, bless you, you're awesome, you rock, we love you. It didn't matter what it was. It could be Valentine's cards, Christmas cards, whatever it was. And every single day we would write in the morning, sometimes at night, just to make sure, since he had to leave so early, that we wouldn't miss it. And we would write our little message to him. And the girls would put, Daddy, we can't wait until you're closer to home. We can't wait until we can spend more time with you, but we know it's going to happen. We know, that you'll be home soon, closer to home. And so we would write these messages, and my message would always be, I'm so proud of you. I'm grateful for what you do for our family. Keep just persevering. Stay committed. Be strong. The time is coming soon. We know God's going to move you closer to home soon. We know we're going to have more time soon. But in the meantime, I just want you to know how much I appreciate everything that you do for us. Or I want you to know how proud I am. Or I want you to know you're doing an amazing job. Where you are at, the people are so blessed to have you there. And we spoke these encouraging words to him day after day after day. To this day, we have a basket filled with every single one of those cards that we would drop in his backpack. And he would get to work and he would find it either when he was getting lunch, or if he was grabbing for his phone, we would make sure we put it somewhere where he was going to see it. And those cards were what he needed to push him through the day. And there were a couple of days, that were a handful of days where maybe we weren't fast enough and we missed it. He was already running out the door and we're saying, wait, because he didn't know we were writing our card, and we would have to save it for the next day. But on those days that we did miss it, we still sent him text messages. We made up for it. because we knew he needed that message of encouragement. And for 2 years straight, we did that. And eventually, he found a job that was closer to home. And we were able to rejoice in that moment that he was now, everything we had spoke, everything we had prayed for, everything we had done to encourage him was all well worth it, because it helped him to push through and persevere through that rough time, of that exhaustion and feeling defeated, and be able to rejoice now that those 2 years were done and now he was closer to home. The words that we wrote and the words that we spoke to him day after day were powerful. And so are your words. So are the words that you speak to your employees, to your team members, to your family members on a daily basis. Those words, your coworkers, your words carry so much power that when we speak positive, encouraging things to one another, it helps us to forget about the things that don't really matter. Although they may hurt, or they may cause us grief or struggles, or we may go through trials, it helps us to take our focus off of the negative and to think about what it is that our purpose is calling us to do. That these things over here are so much more important than these temporary things that we have to endure sometimes. But if you can be that change, if you can be that hope and be that encouragement to those that are around you, and let me tell you this, even when you don't feel like it, there are days we are called to be the light in a dark place. And sometimes we may be standing in a dark place ourselves. We may be going through some things, but we can still be the light. And the more that we push through, we press hard to be the light, the brighter we begin to shine. And the more we light up that area, that atmosphere for everybody else that is around us, so that none of us we are no longer in the dark, but we are all able to see what it is that we have been called for. How powerful is that? That just in changing our mindset and the way that we think, changing our words, can begin to ignite a fire within ourselves, even when we don't feel like it, so that we can be a shining light for others that are around us. Those cards to my husband seemed so insignificant, yet they were so powerful. And so I remember even at one point having this little booklet of encouraging words and scriptures, and they were just random, just different things, but it was just an encouraging word. And I would rip them out daily and fold them and put them in my pocket. And when I saw a coworker or a customer who seemed to look like they were down, or maybe they were having a hard day, I would just pull one randomly out of my pocket. I didn't know what it said. I didn't double check to make sure I was giving the right person the right phrase, the right saying, because I didn't know what they were going through. But if I just pulled one out randomly and just handed it to them in passing, they would always come back and say thank you, because it was a word that they needed to hear. It wasn't my doing. It was just me being obedient to what I knew God had placed in my heart to do, to be able to share that word with them. And God would make sure that the right word got to them. But it was having my eyes open and being aware and focused on those around me and wanting to help make a difference. And it always ended up being a word that they needed to lift their spirits and to give them hope for that day. It is such a small thing, and it is so powerful. So as we go into this new year, the things that you are able to do to make a difference and make a change in the lives of those that are partnered with you, that have joined you, that are on your team, that are there to support you, be the encouragement that they need. It doesn't take much. We make it seem like it takes too much, but it doesn't take much just to show that you care. And one final thing that I want to say is that it is so important as believers, and I told you I do not separate my faith from my business. We do not separate God from our business. Our business is our ministry. Our ministry is our business. And so whatever it is that we do, we partner with God in those things, even if we are operating in the world. And so any moment, any opportunity that you have, if you are a believer and you love God and you know God can change things, His love and His power and His peace and His joy, when you see these things come up, when you see these people that are hurting, don't hesitate to stop and pray with them. Don't hesitate to ask them if you can pray with them. Don't hesitate to pray for them, even as you're walking away from that conversation. That is more important than the business that you have to take care of. That is a priority. And so I have to share one more thing. Anywhere and everywhere that my husband has gone, he probably won't like me sharing all these stories because he's very humble, but he's such a great example of what it is that we need to be doing. But in the places that he has been employed in the past, it didn't matter if the company was, faith-based, if they were Christians, if they believed, or if they just completely opposed it. It did not matter. He was going to go in there first thing in the morning and make sure that he prayed over that place and prayed over that building and that atmosphere. And it always happened that a couple of people who believed as well always wanted to join in with him. And there was never a problem, even if the supervisors and the managers or the owners of those businesses and companies and corporations did not want to be engaged. It's not that they didn't agree with it, but they didn't want to engage for whatever reason. They still allowed it to happen because they knew that there was a shift and a change in that atmosphere that was needed. They knew that that prayer shook things up and made things happen. And so it's knowing that when our prayer changes things, which it always does, and we have the great ability, authority, responsibility to bring God into our workplace. And so every single morning, as he would join hands with, maybe it was 2 people one day, it could have been 5 people another day, and eventually more people would just step in. It became part of that daily routine, that priority, the thing that needed to happen before they started anything else. And it was always powerful. And so know that you can go into your places of employment and the businesses that you own and the people that you work for, and you can be that light. You can be that word of encouragement. You can be that change. You can be that prayer that's needed. You can be the one who opens up your mouth and declares a shifting and a change in the atmosphere of that business and that establishment so that it is successful, prosperous, and that it makes a difference in somebody else's life. That's why we're in business. So we are on day 3 of this year. And if you've already begun to do this, or if this is something that you have always had a heart to do, then I am so grateful for your heart. I am so grateful for the love that you have for your people. If it's something that you haven't done, or that maybe you just have never thought about how powerful it is, then today is day 3. Just start. Just do it. Just walk up to somebody and tell them how much you appreciate them. And watch what a difference it makes. It may be the very moment that they need to hear that their purpose matters. We have a great responsibility, but it's also the greatest privilege. And so I pray that this encouraged you today. I love coming on here and just pouring my heart out and sharing with you about how good God is, but at the same time, the greatest vision and plan and purpose that He has given us in our businesses to be and to do something great. So I will talk to you next week. God bless.